Okay, hello. Just thought I'd throw a quick video up while I wait for some glue to dry on a little project. Taking a break from some painting today to do a little bit of modelling to make some fences. Just been playing around with some lollipop sticks, chopping them up, just whacking some PVA glue on them to make some kind of line of sight breaking scatter terrain for bolt action. Done a test piece with this one that I painted up as well. Kind of happy with the result. So he's just primed white and washed with a soft tone ink, and then I put this basic material on. I think they work okay. Work with my little soldiers. So I've got 8 of them on the go, so it should give me plenty to kind of use. But as I said, I'm just waiting for the glue to dry on these. And speaking of my little soldiers, if I can focus, after my last video, I've gone back and decided to do some very subtle highlights. I've done the flesh tones on all of these airborne. I tried some highlights for the webbing, but really didn't like how they came out. I kind of took them back too far to the base paint. So for now I've just washed them back over again, so they're all at this stage, they're all consistent, and I'm kind of happy where they are for now. Just got to get on with the basing. I have picked up, I ordered some paints this week, so I did pick up the US Airborne Support Group to go with the starter kit I've got, to give me a few more options. That's what I'm kind of working on next. It gives me some kind of heavy support and a medic and captain I can use. So that'll be in a video coming up. I still haven't got the German infantry sprues that I was waiting for, but I have heard from Warlord that my initial email went into their spam folder and they've now received it and are sending them fast dispatch. So I should, fingers crossed, get them this week, which would be nice. I also just kind of wanted to take the chance maybe to do a very quick reply to the round robin that's going around at the moment from Jonny Watson Gaming about likes and dislikes of the hobby. As I mentioned in one of my first videos, I'm not very long back in the hobby after the hiatus of about 20 years, so I don't really have time to, I haven't really had the recent experience to develop kind of major dislikes. I kind of like everything at the moment. I'm enjoying the process, but I thought it might be interesting just to approach it from a slightly different perspective of maybe what brought me back in, or what made me hesitant to come back into the hobby, or things that have kind of occurred to me as I've come back that I dislike. Maybe a short little list actually, but the major like really on these is painting the squads of airborne I've got, and painting these kind of kits. I love to see the visual progress working through them. I can sit down one day and they're all just grey plastic or on the sprues, and the next day they're all built. The following day they're all primed, the next day they've got base coats, then washes and so on. And so before, you know, you've got 0 models ready and complete, and the next day you've got 3, and then a few days later you've got 7, and then you've got 10, and then you've got a whole squad sat in front of you, and then you're on to another project, and it builds up and builds up, and before you know it, the whole army's finished. And I've got too many projects that I do digitally or through work that you don't see any progress really until the end and all the pieces come together. So I really like how kind of painting and modelling lets you see a very visual progress of your time and kind of the investment of your time. One of the dislikes I have, which surprised me a little, is the kind of prejudice that still exists around or against wargamers. Since, you know, back 20 years ago, there was that kind of conception that wargaming was nerdy and kind of geeky and all those kind of things, as Games Workshop was coming to the fore a bit. Over those 20 years, I've come back. You know, video games, that's changed now. Video games are accepted everywhere and by everyone, really. No one bats an eyelid if you say that you own a PlayStation or an Xbox or whatever. And same for board games, really, now. And Dungeons and Dragons seems to be getting a kind of, or having a resurgence, and it's seemingly been accepted kind of wholeheartedly by most of kind of modern society. But wargamers have still got that kind of sense of being a bit solitary and a bit nerdy, and we are, proudly, I'm sure, but that wider perception doesn't seem to have changed. And I was having a conversation with some colleagues the other day about what we're doing during the lockdown to kind of keep ourselves busy and things. And I mentioned that I got back into war games and was painting and modelling and stuff. And I still got the kind of, oh, I thought that was for, you know, fat beardy blokes in the spare room kind of attitude from a few people, which quite surprised me because they're otherwise really open to a lot of things. It probably didn't help that, you know, I am a fat beardy bloke and I was in the spare room at the time, but that's beside the point. There's, you know, it has changed. It is an inclusive hobby, which is one of the things I really love about it. There seems to be far more women, far more younger people in the hobby now. Looking at footage from previous salutes and other shows, and watching all the videos from you lot on YouTube, there's a huge diverse range of people who are involved in it now. There's so many more manufacturers that are approaching things differently, and it's getting more widespread, but it still doesn't seem to have hit that kind of, what's the term, zeitgeist of getting into being accepted by the mainstream right now. Anyway, this video is getting on fairly long, so I'll hurry up. One of the other things I really love is that war games allow for every little niche of historical gaming and sci-fi and fantasy. You can, I watched a few videos, I think it's the Eccentric Man, when he's put up a few videos for tournament prep, and he always seems to have an army that's built around a very specific battle that I've never heard of, that just intrigues me to go and research or find out about. And I love that. I love seeing people's units or individual characters that they painted up that are from a theatre or from a period that I have no clue about at all. And that leads me into research. It leads me into watching more videos by those same guys, and I just love that. I love that that possibility is there. It's not just kind of limited to a very kind of structured format. That's there if you want it, and it kind of gets people into the hobby, but there is always this kind of possibility to try different things and explore niche kind of areas. My other dislike that I've written down is just, there's a few things actually, a couple occurred to me a minute ago, but the one I've got here is that I hate the time it takes and the organisation it takes just to play a game. You know, I've got a gaming PC, so I can switch it on and play a game in 2 minutes. I can play modern board games. I can kind of open up a box, throw it on the table, everything's kind of organised in little organisers that come in the insert nowadays, and things are baggied up, and you can set it up in 2 minutes, and again you're away. But wargaming is have to clear the table, have to set it up, have to have terrain, have to have the armies kind of all organised for what I want, for army lists and all these kind of things, and I can't just throw it out and have a very, very quick game, unless it's a kind of skirmish game. But I kind of don't have any of those yet, but I'm looking into a few things. I just wish it was kind of, I wish I had the space to have things prepared and have a table that I could lay out and leave ready, and then jump in the next day at the end of work, a few hours in the evening, and kind of go straight into things. But I can't. Yeah, the other positive that I have, the other like, which is kind of, everyone said this, but it's true, is a community, is the community on YouTube, for one thing. I've had such a kind of positive experience in the last month, just being introduced to a number of you guys, getting responses from you lot, having conversations, leaving comments for people, getting comments back, getting constructive criticism back, just advice, links to research, links to books. Been watching a few live streams that have been good fun to get involved with, all that kind of stuff. Things like this, the round robin, kind of cute questions. Great to hear what everyone says in response to those. But also, coming back, I love seeing that in those 20 years, while you know, back then that was kind of, as I said, when Games Workshop was kind of coming to the fore. I love that there are still lots and lots of small manufacturers, family-run businesses, companies that people are supporting just by buying a few miniatures here and there, buying terrain, you know, supporting those small independent shops and suppliers who have been supporting the hobby back for that whole time and a lot longer. It's fantastic just to see, you know, I'm finding names that I remember from those 20 years ago, but now they've all got modern websites, thankfully. Or not all of them, actually. Some of them are, yeah, some of them could do with a little help in that area, but it's great to see they're still there. It's great to see all the new suppliers and manufacturers that are out there, and some doing some fantastic things, and not just kind of big Kickstarters and big 3D printing things, just subtle, small, independent studios. I think Bad Squiddo has really stood out to me lately, and just what they're doing, kind of with their representations of kind of female figures in wargaming. It's brilliant. But I love that community is still there. That sense of community still exists in wargaming, and yeah, I love it. So I'll just leave you with the final dislikes that I just remembered, and then I'll skip out. I really dislike how discriminatory wargaming is, especially modelling, to people with fat sausage fingers like me. So many times I'm struggling to put things together, even things like this, just I knock them about all over the place, and it takes me a while to, takes me too long to put these things together. And also hate, especially, this is the worst, I hate clipping something off a sprue and it disappearing into the corner of the room and me not being able to find it. Someone needs to come up with a way of stopping that, or an invention to recover those pieces. So I think this video is done. I'm going to go and look for that piece which is actually still in the corner of the room. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll stick another video up next week. I hope you're all well still, and I'll speak to you soon.